Just for Laughs, the big comedy festival, the #1 comedy festival in the entire world for, what, 30, 40 years?
1983.
1983. That's 40 years. 41 years.
41 years.
And they're not seeing a 41st year because JFL has what happened, Mike?
They've gone, they're filing chapter, whatever the bankruptcy protection is in Canada, whatever chapter that is.
They're filing maple syrup of, they're filing maple syrup. We don't have money. And for that, can we get a group applause? Yeah, get out of here, you gatekeepers. You haven't gotten anyone a deal since 1994.
Trekking heavier, traveling light. There's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I am.
I just used ChatGPT this morning, and it's perfect for certain things.
They do. Emma uses it all the time for business stuff.
Yeah. I needed it for a quick consent thing for, like, if you upload a video, like, you give us permission.
Oh, give you, like,
I was like, give me one sentence, cover my ass, and I was like, this is great.
It's great for legal jargon.
It's crazy.
Man, everyone's going to be out of work.
But then I said thank you to it.
I do that too.
Well, because when they come for us, which they will, I want them to scan me and go, this guy is sweet, and then, like, move on, you know?
That's so funny. I say thank you too.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just feels good.
I ask sheepishly, I'm like, hey, do you mind writing me a quick? I'm like shoulders down when I ask. Hey, if it's not too much to ask, computer. I don't ask my computer for anything else.
That is so damn funny. I yell at the, not AI, but the directions lady.
Oh, you do the voice directions?
Yeah, voice yeah, Barbara. Yeah, as you call her. Anytime, like, I'm driving somewhere and then I got to pull over to piss or something, she's like, turn back over here. I'm like, I gotta pee. What do you want me to hold it for 2 more hours?
There should be a button.
Yeah, I gotta pee.
Yeah.
We're getting gas.
Turn around. Turn around. No.
I'm hungry. I'll get back.
I wonder if they could do it where it was like they did songs instead of directions. Turn around. You're going the wrong direction.
Don't turn around.
Because that's the wrong direction.
I don't know if we are recording, but if we are,
oh, we're recording. Yeah.
Oh,
this is
yeah.
This is gold. I think we should leave this part in.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to This Week in Zoltan. I didn't know we were recording.
We've been recording for the last 5 minutes.
I love it. Leave it all in.
I've become adept to just hitting record as I'm setting up, just because this stuff always happens. So.
You know what? I think there was some gold, and I don't think anyone said anything that could get themselves canceled. So, yeah, I think everyone's good. You didn't say anything, did you?
I never say anything.
I don't know.
They cut out some of the Sports Illustrated stuff.
Oh, yeah, the swimsuit issue.
Yeah.
No, we didn't say anything bad about it.
We didn't.
I just said sexy broads.
Yeah, you said
I said plumps.
Well, you said it again.
I thought that was... All right.
Bleep that out.
I think plumps is...
just tripling down. I love it.
I think
Mark, hit the button.
Hit the button, Mark. Welcome to the show. Welcome to This Week in Zoltan. I just got hot. It was. I don't need the fan.
Oh, okay.
It was the feeling of being seen, like the fact that we were recording and I didn't know it. You know what that felt like? It felt like being in a hotel room with the blinds drawn, and I'm just dancing in my underwear, and then I turn and I make eye contact with like a maintenance man on another roof, and then I'm like, oh, my fantasy world has come crashing down.
Yeah.
Before we get started, Safe Journal, safejournal.co. Are you looking to get into the world of journaling? Have you been having thoughts in your head that keep you awake at night and make you scream when you wake up in the morning? Maybe you should write them down on paper instead of just storing them in your head and in your heart. That's a lot of weight for your subconscious to carry around. Journaling is the best way to get to know yourself. It's way better than just talking to yourself in your head or out loud. That terrifies people around you. Journaling has been proven as a perfect companion to in-person therapy, and I think the best journal on the market is Safe Journal. Safejournal.co. You can get 25% off by using Zoltan at checkout, and you get a handwritten note by yours truly if you do so. And I've been getting better at the notes.
So good.
I've been getting good at the notes. Safe Journal, safejournal.co, not .com, .co. Zoltan at checkout, 25% off. We had an episode land today, and you got some orders on the subway as we came in.
I sure did, yeah.
Yeah, it felt good. Right before we started recording, or I don't know if you got the JFL part in there, too.
No, we did not. No.
Oh, we did not.
I don't
Just
believe
for
so.
Laughs, the big comedy festival, the #1 comedy festival in the entire world for, 30, 40 years?
1983.
1983. That's 40 years. 41 years.
41 years.
And they're not seeing a 41st year because JFL has what happened, Mike?
They've gone, they're filing chapter, whatever the bankruptcy protection is in Canada, whatever chapter that is.
They're filing maple syrup of. They're filing maple syrup. We don't have money. And for that, can we get a group applause? Yeah, get out of here, you gatekeepers. You haven't gotten anyone a deal since 1994.
They're trying to restructure. They want to still do it again in 2025, but
All right,
it's
I
very
shouldn't-
difficult, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No, just kidding.
Hey, are you willing to have
Just
me on?
effing joking.
JFL, ROFL, LAO, MOO. No, I'm happy to see the festival go away. Because I showcase for fresh faces, like so many years, and I would get the call back, and then Jeff Singer or whatever panel of comedy elitists would never pick me.
Whatever group of bad hats,
Yeah.
sweaty faced bad hat.
So imagine this. Imagine you're a comedian, and now you're getting the opportunity to showcase to be on Just for Laughs, which is a huge comedy festival. And back in the 80s and 90s, it would make your career. Even the early 2000s, you could leave, like comedians left there with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of holding deals. And that's money to not do anything.
Right.
And by the time I was showcasing for it, that stuff was gone, but you could still get like an agent and a manager, and people would like you and maybe put you on stuff. And so I would go showcase, and you walk in, and I remember the first time I did it, I'm like, I wonder who the people are they get to choose. And I was looking at the audience, and they looked really normal. And then, like Mike said, a group of like 4 hats came in. 4 weird, like a fedora, and then another hat, and then like a hat that looks like you sold newspaper in the 20s, like on the street corner. Those guys would come in with little notebooks, and I'm like, there they are. That's the people they get to choose. And I hated how nervous I would be before I went on stage.
Because it's useless, because they know what they want.
Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't even that aspect to me. I was still in a world of meritocracy, which there have been talented comedians that have made it
course.
through, definitely. Of
course.
But there's a lot of junk.
I used to live with Joe List for briefly, but
Yeah.
I lived in his old apartment for a long time, and he had his pamphlet from whenever he did it.
Yeah.
I recognized one name. Never heard of anyone else that went to Just for Laughs that year. It was just like, I made that real. I was like, oh man, we all go crazy for this. But then like people hit me up, be like, hey, your manager is asking me, is he a good manager? Because that's who approached me. And I'm like, oh man, okay, yeah, I don't need
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I remember
you-
Jeff Singer stood up and walked out as soon as I got on the stage and turned around. I saw his stupid hat walking out of the back of the room. And then I was like, oh, this is useless. Like he just made the decision before I even said one word.
That's
Yeah, as soon
brutal.
like,
as
okay,
you
yeah.
lumbered on stage,
Yeah.
he's like, he's too tall.
He went, I can't have sex with that.
Oh yeah, he turned out to be one of those
Bit of a predator.
Oh,
Yeah, a bit of a
really?
little, how do you do?
He got fired a long time ago.
Yeah, he
or
got fired a few
resigned
years.
on his own accord.
Yeah, isn't that the best?
Allegedly. All this is alleged.
Yeah, I love when people get to resign on their own accord. I'm resigning. I'm retiring. That happened in the WWE because Vince McMahon, all that scandal. His #1 producer, Kevin Dunn, just magically retired right before the new year. He's like, I'm retiring. It's over. Thank you for the good run. I'm out of here. And that's because he was part of the sex ring of the how do you do's. But without getting too far off, I'm very happy. I like the establishments in comedy falling down. The less gatekeeper-ish, the less... I just don't like the culture that it builds. It builds a high school culture. Not just for Laughs. The Comedy Store, the Cellar, all these places build this, like, oh, are you varsity or JV?
Yeah.
It builds that kind of mentality, and then sometimes I think we forget it's just one person's opinion.
And to be clear, officially Jeff Singer was resigned because he was overheard screaming the N-word over and over again during a showcase. Like he was using it constantly.
Oh.
So that's why technically he resigned. So the other stuff is all alleged.
Oh, the
Just for
sexual
safety
stuff is
purposes.
alleged.
Yeah.
That's
just hearsay. Who knows?
hearsay.
Probably didn't happen.
Hey, no, yeah, you don't need to sue us. That was hearsay. Jeff Singer said, but that's not hearsay, that he was yelling racial appetites, racial appetites at people performing, I think.
You're going to be okay.
I'm going to be all right. I love seeing the comedy hierarchy crumble. I love seeing that stuff. I think it makes me very happy. Because it's all up to the people. The people that come out, see the show, if they're buying a ticket to see you, you've made it. It's done. Yeah, of course it would be nice if some lady who opened a restaurant that has no connection to comedy other than people like going there to like you. But that's neither here nor there, you know? That's just a gatekeeper going, I approve of what you do. I approve of what you bring to the table. Yeah, we had that's great news. I love that. I don't know what I want to start with.
What do you want to start with?
I got nothing. I don't know. I wrote some notes down, but I was so happy that we came back. Where was I this past week? I was in Cleveland. I had a lovely time in
Capital of
Cleveland.
America.
You know what? Cleveland is a great city. The rest of Ohio could use some work. Because I've since performed, and this is no knock on anyone that's come to see me perform in these cities, but these cities just felt weird. Like, it felt like I snuck in on a meeting. That's the feeling of Toledo. Like, I wasn't even in Toledo proper. I was in Perrysburg, which is like a rich upper middle class area of suburb of Toledo. And the whole show just felt weird. It felt like I snuck in on a fundraiser. You ever perform at a fundraiser?
Oh, lots of them.
And then they've already done the silent raffle. They've already done the ugly sweater contest. They've already honored Jeff, who's retiring. And then you're coming out, and they're just like, we already ate. We're kind of tired. Who are you?
No one told us there was a comedian.
Nobody told us there was yes.
Or the one where it's like a benefit for someone who survived cancer, but then they list the names of people who haven't right before they tell you, by the way, this guy's going to cheer us up. And you're like, so you guys dating out here? Or who's on Bumble?
That's another benefit show I did in Sandusky, Ohio. We were raising money for some hospital.
For Callahan Auto Parts to reopen.
Yeah, that's a Tommy Boy reference with Chris Farley. I'd made a Tommy Boy reference on stage in Sandusky at the fundraiser. It went over like the rest of my material, not at all. But it was a fundraiser for, I guess, their heart department. And so they played a highlight reel of people that almost died, but because they got to this hospital in time, they didn't die. And so it's just this heart-wrenching highlight reel of interviews and testimonials. And I'm over in the buffet area, and I'm about to get a pulled pork sandwich. And I'm like, maybe not the pork, you know? I mean, maybe you don't serve pork at the I got a bad heart fundraiser.
Does have any kale? They should play that at every like Golden Corral. They should just have people who almost died because of heart conditions.
Yeah.
That would be great. Signs of what like the inside of your body looks like after you eat too much cheese dip at the cheese dip. Cigarette signs, but for food. Just people in rascal scooters. They're 42 years old.
You know how like in certain countries you buy cigarettes and they have like a picture of like a lung that smokes cigarettes? Yeah. That would be horrible at every buffet. It's like, this is what happens when you attack the chocolate fountain too much. And it's just some guy without feet. And he's like, hey, I don't have any feet.
I wanted to buy cigarettes in Paris and I didn't know how to ask for them. I was like, can I get the Black Heart? Like, I didn't know because there's no brands on them. I was just like, give me Cataracts. Give me a pack of Cataracts Lights.
Yeah, I'll take tongue cancer. Can I get a carton of tongue cancer?
Give me you're gonna miss your kids when you die. What's that one? Is that filtered? All right. Give
me a box of everyone makes an excuse to leave your house. That's a long one. I don't even know what that picture would be, but it would be aggressive for sure. But yeah, it was all of Ohio just feels like everyone grew up together from childhood and then they lived there. And then nobody left, so when a new person comes in, everyone's like, ugh. I felt like Johnny Tsunami's first day in high school in Connecticut.
What's Johnny Tsunami?
This is a classic Disney Channel movie from the year 2000.
I don't know that about it.
Johnny Tsunami. I'm going to explain. Do you watch Johnny Tsunami?
Nope.
Oh, well,
What's
this
worse is
great.
that I just typed in Johnny and I started tsunami with an S. I was like, wow. Not only did I not watch the show, I'm stupid.
Johnny Tsunami. That's how you pronounce it, Tsunami. Johnny Tsunami is a surfer kid in Hawaii, but his dad gets transferred to Connecticut, so he has to go to Connecticut. But he's all Hawaii, he's all surfer, he's all pineapples. And then he goes over there, and the pineapple is canned. He's super sad about that. There's no surfing. But then he finds out there's snowboarding. And he's like, that's close, so he goes to snowboard. But it's different, because on a snowboard, you steer from the front. And in a surfboard, you steer from the back. So once he figures that out, he becomes the most badass little snowboarder there is. But there's a villain kid, then they have a classic 80s race down to the bottom.
I love this.
Yes,
I'm going to watch it.
It's a great movie.
Sounds like Three Ninjas, but on snow.
They combined a bunch of movies, and it's a wonderful movie. But that's how I felt. That's how I feel in Ohio every time I'm outside of Cleveland. I feel like Johnny Tsunami just walked in, and I'm like, do you have any fresh pineapple? And everyone's just like, we just have canned. And that's what we like. Everyone's just pale and has a poker face on in Ohio.
This came out in 99.
1999.
That was right in my wheelhouse. I should have watched it.
Were you not watching Disney Channel movies in 99?
I think I was just like going to the woods looking at porno mags. Like, I don't think I was, I don't know. I was an outdoor kid. I didn't have video game consoles. I didn't have any of that. I just kind of hung around and lit fires in the woods and stuff.
We had such a different, because we're the same age, I think. How old are you?
40.
I'm 3 years behind you, because I turned 37 this year. So, yeah, we had the same childhood, except I was at home watching Smart House.
No, I
and
don't even know what that is.
Did you ever watch Brink?
Nope.
That was the roller skating one?
No.
Man,
Right when I hit like 11 or 12 is when I think I stopped.
Man, I hung around for a while.
Yeah.
I lingered in the kids' TV show phase for a little too long because I didn't have any siblings to bully me out of it.
Hilarious.
I think that's what happens when you grow up with older siblings, and if they walk in and you're watching Johnny Tsunami, they're like, "What the hell are you doing?" That's for like 11-year-olds. Like, oh, I got to turn off Lizzie McGuire now. You know?
And then your brother sits down and is like, all right, this one's fine. This one's fine. This one's fine. Was that Lizzie? She's the main character? All right.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll figure this one out.
Even Stevens. Let's watch it. But yeah, that was my childhood. But also in the trailer park, we had like a little wooded area, you know, the creek, and there was porn in there.
In the creek?
No, like I remember one time I went on a walk with Carlos, and I don't know if he did this to try to out me, but it wasn't mine. There was a pizza box, and he kicked the lid open of the pizza box, and it was just porno cassette tapes in a pizza box.
Whoa.
And it was deserted in the thing. And he went on a walk with me, and we never went on walks. So it felt like he did it to like try to go, is this your porn that you're keeping in a pizza box? And I just went, no, because it wasn't mine. And I had an idea of, there were some dirty kids in my in my trailer park. They used to go dumpster diving for pornography. This is how they did it in my age. You know, there was internet, but no one in the trailer park had a computer. So like
Let me reiterate, trailer park.
yeah,
We had pizza boxes.
Yeah, we had word processors. We didn't have computers. Like the only porno you were gonna see on there is if you took a calculator and typed out boobs and then tried to turn it out and turn it upside down. So yeah, that was I was watching Johnny Tsunami, and we were lighting things on fire.
We had a briefcase filled with porn that would kind of pass around to people. Everyone would get the briefcase like it was a CIA operative, and they'd hand it over, and then you'd whisper the password. We all knew the password, but it was fun to just say. And it was 323, but if you looked at it sideways, it looked like WZW. So that's what we said, WZW. For some reason, we thought that one like no one would catch us.
I like how you guys thought it was discreet that a couple of teenage kids wearing like skateboardery type clothes just walking with a briefcase.
It was a hard shell briefcase, like an 80s movie. Where you going? I just had to do some work, real hard work.
I'm going to school, got some papers, a lot of papers.
Got a lot to do. There's the printouts in there, color printouts. Whoever had a colored printer would shove a couple. We'd keep refreshing a little bit. Yeah, it was a good time.
Wow.
I still remember one of the lovely young ladies.
The lovely young ladies.
Yeah, she's very cute, very adorable.
You ever wonder what they're doing now? There's just like a cashier at a gas station, and then you walk in because you're like in between towns filling up, and you're like, and then you just have that moment. You look into her eyes, and you're like, oh my God, briefcase, and you just yell 323 at her or whatever the code was.
You're my WZW.
WCW.
No, I've never recognized anybody. I don't think they would look anything like I remember them, though, right?
You would hope not.
What if they did? Still just gorgeous. Working at a gas station.
You end up getting married. Like you stop being engaged.
This sounds like the remake of Johnny Tsunami.
Johnny Tsunami 2.
He slid a little too far down the mountain. Now he's marrying a porn star cashier.
Also, now looking back at the movie Johnny Tsunami, if you moved from Hawaii to Connecticut, even if you did fall in love with snowboarding, you're still pretty unhappy. Like, there's no way that's enough to cure the depression of the move from Hawaii to Connecticut.
Yeah, you can't go that way, but you can go the other way. You can move from Connecticut to Hawaii happy as can be, but you can't go backwards, no.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be so stoked. But yeah, but going back to what we were talking about, Ohio is, like, I did Toledo, I did Dayton, both kind of weird, both in, like, high-end shopping malls. Columbus was all right. I liked the venue there a lot. The Attic, which was really badass. Then I went to a small town in Tiffin, which was just a bunch of farmhouses. But it all felt like a big, giant secret. I haven't been to Cincinnati, which is their other kind of bigger city. They got a football team. But the whole Ohio feels like it's so different because the last 2 months I've spent a lot of time in Ohio and Florida, which are both swing states, but for very different reasons. It's just Florida's so extreme in all directions that they're like, we don't know which way we're going to go. There's just a guy... The joke I said on stage, I'm like, there's just a guy in an Under Armour hat with a gator and a headlock and a syringe of ivermectin. He's like, I'm going to do it. And then everyone's like, yeah, no one said you can't. Like, I don't even know why you're yelling that at us.
Who are you fighting, man?
Yeah, who are you fighting right now? And then in Ohio, they had like a train accident and nobody talked about it. Like, they had a major train accident where like nuclear plumes went up and people were like, yeah, everything's fine.
Wasn't it like Moscow or what was it? There was like some...
It was
like Abu Dhabi, or there was some like foreign sounding name.
It was a foreign sounding name, which is a town in Ohio somewhere. But I think that's why Ohio is a swing state. It's because even politicians don't even know how they feel. Like, they're like, can I count on your vote? And they just look at them like, I don't know, can you? Can you count on our vote? Thank you for coming in big on the laughs on that one.
East Palestine.
East Palestine.
How do we not know that?
That was the place where the train accident happened.
Free Palestine of the chemicals.
Of the
train accident.
East Palestine.
Damn, dude.
Isn't that in Pennsylvania? They have an East of Prussia.
No, King of Prussia.
King of Prussia,
Now
which you're
Philly,
like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. They got a great mall there. Apparently, King of Prussia Mall. Not to derail the conversation. Do you get it because of the train?
I got it now.
Apologies.
I got it now.
Jokes are best described. You know what I mean? King of Prussia Mall is apparently is the most concentrated amount of human trafficking in America.
King of Prussia.
Apparently, because it's the amount of state versus local highways where there's a lot of confusion of who's in charge of the roads.
Oh.
And so the people are flying in and out of there like selling people.
Whoa.
It's crazy. And the mall apparently is like a big hub for that.
What? King of Prussia, where do you learn these things?
Someone told me.
Wow.
Obviously.
Yeah, you know so many random facts.
You know a lot of things.
I'm going to look it up. King of Prussia human traffic comes right up.
Comes right up.
Because you Googled it yesterday.
Hotspot for human trafficking. The unfair to label King of Prussia as a mall for human trafficking, even though it is. Yeah, this is a lot of it.
I don't
Hidden
think...
Truth of Human Trafficking. There's a whole documentary that came out about it.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And so these are all like sex slaves?
Sex trafficking, it seems to be, yeah.
I think that's a better term for it. Human trafficking, I don't think really describes the gravity of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because you know what? We were just on the subway. Felt like a lot of human trafficking going on in there. There's a guy who was playing his speakers without headphones. That felt torturous. I just feel like that's another level.
It sounds like a Greyhound ad, you know?
Human trafficking.
Human trafficking's a little too broad.
Yeah.
Yeah, human trafficking sounds like a chain of buses that will take you to the next major town.
It sounds like a Hyundai commercial. Are you looking for human trafficking? We have your solution here at Kia of South Bend.
It sounds like a carpool, like trying to get people to carpool. Yeah. Are you tired of dealing with the human trafficking? Why don't you join our carpool? We'll get you to work on time and traffic will get cut down with all of us involved.
We got carpool, we got human trafficking, we've got People busser. No.
People busser.
So all the failed names for carpool.
Yeah. Oh man, I had a joke about that because every time you fly through the Atlanta airport, they go keep an eye out for human trafficking, and I'm like, unless it's obvious, I'm not gonna notice. Unless there's a guy dressed like a pimp walking a lady with a leash, I'm not gonna like. I'm gonna go. I think that's human trafficking over there. But you have to be dressed like a '70s pimp.
Yeah.
Like,
also, there's airplanes everywhere.
Yes.
They're all human. Like, I don't know, be more specific.
Yeah, it's never specific enough. It's like, what am I supposed to look for? Am I supposed to look for a lady crying? Because that's every airport.
Just every dad with just the father with kids.
Yeah, and
Like
you're
a father traveling alone. Like, guy's trafficking over here, dude.
Because how embarrassing is that?
His hands are dirty. He must have been trafficking. I don't know what do I look for? Makes no sense.
I think it's only certain airlines. Like, I don't see that kind of thing going on Delta. That seems like a frontier type traffic. You know? That seems like the type of place where, like, oh, you're not going to pay $100 for the overhead bag use? No, we have no luggage. That's sex trafficking. What are you doing flying without luggage?
Yeah.
Like, get a look at that.
Backpack and no return ticket?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No one goes one way to Louisville. Let's talk about it.
A 7-year-old boy with a Little Mermaid backpack and nothing else. Like, yeah, that kid's currently in the middle of the traffic.
Yeah,
Let's stop that.
It feels like it shouldn't be that difficult to figure out. Just get in everyone's business, you know? Where are you going? What are you doing? And then they go, I'm not being shipped against my will to a different state.
So do you want to learn the actual signs? Do you want to learn something today?
Yes. Do you want to learn the actual signs of sex trafficking?
So there are indicators. Does the person appear disconnected from family, friends? Has a child stopped attending school? Well, how would I know this in the airport?
How do I know that at the airport? I'm currently shuffling to try to take a piss. How am I supposed to see this?
The fourth thing, has the juvenile engaged in commercial sex acts?
Why do I know that?
What does that even mean?
Commercial?
Well, I assume that means prostitution in some way.
Okay. That sounds so...
But that doesn't seem like I should have to learn that.
How would I know it by you walking by?
Yeah, this kid over here is hooking. Yeah, that's a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
no one's debating that.
It's too vague. You gotta tell us what to look for because it's not enough. I don't know how to keep an eye out for that. Do you have any idea? Like, if you saw somebody, you'd be like, they're in trouble because you're good at reading people.
I guess just someone that looks in distress.
But that's a lot of people at the airport.
That's true.
A lot of people at the airport look like they're in distress. They missed a flight. They forgot to bring their passport.
Yeah.
Their boyfriend broke up with them. That's why they're flying home.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different. Everyone's mad. I think 33 1/3% of the people at the airport are disgruntled in some way, form or fashion. They're flying for something that's not vacation. They missed their connection. They spilled their coffee as they were boarding, or someone cut them off and did I had an old guy cut me off because it's supposed to go row by row, and I this little weasel bustled behind me.
That's the worst.
Oh, and he didn't even I hated this guy. Dude, I don't know. Every time I'm at the airport, I always lose my sense of humanity.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, just end it, dude. Just end it. End it all. I wonder if God ever feels that way. You know?
Well, there was the Great Flood. There was the, there was the Ice Age. I feel like he had a couple of moments. He might have been a little ticked.
I was
just Superman just freezing everybody. He's like, guess what? Guess what, woolly mammoth? Talk shit to me again. I'll burn you out, buddy.
I was thinking about God, and not in any
End of sentence.
I was just thinking of God. I was thinking of God in like the sense of every religion and even ones we don't talk about. So like the entire earth, let's say the entire history of the universe, God. That's the frame I'm thinking of it. And I think God is like I think God's initial creatures were dinosaurs. Like that's what he initially wanted, but then an asteroid came in and he killed it. Like they died, and so he was bummed out. And then he grew up a little bit, and then he got like caveman action figures, and he's like, oh hell yeah, these are cool. And then he aged a little bit. Now he had Roman Empire action figures, and then now he's like a full grown adult, but like that keeps action figures still in the case.
Yeah,
like that's God's level of figure collection, and now it's gotten to the point where I think God looks at the earth ever since humans have created computers and started to evolve. And now he's like, I never meant for this, but let's see where it goes. I think every day God is like, should I end it? Or should I see what happens tomorrow?
I think he's just calling other universes. He's just hitting them up. He's like, hey, man, what do you guys got on over there? You got any time you can send some of your guys over here and just kind of freak them out a bit? Like, I feel like we could really return to normal if we just start proving that you guys are out there. No. They are complete, especially the religious ones. They do not believe in you. Let's get them over here.
They don't believe and they're angry. But also on top of that, I wonder how he feels about like people leaving in like little spaceships, and I wonder if he's like, whoa, hey, don't mess up my other planets. My other planets are doing all right without you. Why don't you just keep this cancer over here? Whoa, hey, buddy.
He's like calling his other managers at different branches. You send a couple. We're a little short-staffed over on Earth. Can you get a couple? Make them look as human as possible. We can't get the weirdos over here. You know
They're thinking about ruining Mars. We can't let them.
We already ruined it once, and we got them off of that planet. And I made them all forget. I used a little flashy thing for Men in Black. Nobody remembers we were on Mars. Let's keep it that way.
But it's kind of like when you played SimCity as a kid. At first, you would just destroy the town too fast, and then you would build it bigger, and you're like, oh, I'll just destroy it when it's bigger. But then it got so big, you're like, well, let's see how far I can go with it. Then you don't want to destroy it because you put so much work into it, and then it just naturally kind of crumbles.
I would always save and then destroy it to see just for fun, and then not save it. And I go right back to where it started again.
And that's how alternate universes work.
Yeah, exactly.
We watched that episode of Sheldon last night about the black hole and how there's like alternate universes. It's like maybe there's like this version is the one he didn't save and he's seeing where it goes. Ooh. And he's like, no, this is the simulation for how far it might go.
I used to have a joke where I'd say I opened up an old SimCity game from like 20 years ago, and it's just been operating without me. And it's weird because I did name it Detroit at the time, which was like that was like, early joke. Pretty funny though.
I like that. It's a good bit.
It's a fun bit.
I recently saw an old video of myself doing stand-up and giving an interview about stand-up. And
isn't that the worst?
There's nothing
when you have to give your opinion about stand-up when you first start. You're like,
so hard, man. It's just a difficult shut up.
Yeah, dude. The more I've done stand-up, the more I've learned that I don't know that much about it.
Yeah.
And the more I've learned that there's no rules to it. You can do it a million different ways, and you can still end up in the same place you were going to. You don't have to have these hard and fast opinions about right and wrong. And I remember Daryl at the mechanic shop. Like, he was the old man. And people would come to him for advice on working on cars. And he goes, I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything. It's just I've seen a lot. That's all he said. He goes, I've experienced a lot. Like once there was, they had an issue with this motor and they didn't know what it was. And he's like, you know what I think? But he's like, I don't know, but I just know this because it happened to me once. I think you guys dropped a nut into the cylinder and it's just getting pounded. And that's why it's knocking. He goes, how did that happen? He goes, I don't know. It happened to me once. And then he put his camera down there. He goes, yeah, here it is. And it got knocked into this little ball. He's like, how'd you know that? I'm like, he's like, it happened to me 30 years ago. And I remembered it. He's like, I'm not that smart. It's just I've been around and have experienced a lot of different things. Yeah. And that's what knowledge is. And yeah, the longer I've done stand-up, this is my 18th year, the more I've realized do it any way you want. And as long as the people are going, ha ha ha, you're doing it good.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not stealing jokes or whatever, that's like the one hard rule.
Well, don't obviously steal them.
Muck them up enough.
Yeah, just change it a little bit.
Yeah, muck them up enough to where no one can make a direct connection of thievery. But yeah, there's no rules to this. Go do whatever you want. But man, when you're young and when you're into something, you just have these hard, fast opinions. Yeah. This is right. This is wrong.
I got asked to do a documentary by a bunch of like comics in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They were like making a film about it, like the grind of stand-up. And I didn't really understand. They just went out and they started interviewing me. They were like clearly trying to make me be like, this is the hardest thing ever. I was like, I'm good. No, because it's not true. What you're saying isn't true. Like, and I was young, but I was still like, nah, this just seems like don't force this on me. And I just walked out of the project and I was like, I'm good.
Good. Honestly, if stand-up is that hard, you're doing it wrong.
Those guys are famous comedians now.
Those guys are famous?
No.
Oh.
Of course not. It was Dane Cook.
Listen, if stand-up is... I guess it depends what aspect of stand-up is hard to you. If it's the making the audience laugh part, and you've been doing it for a long time, this isn't for you.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't pieced together how to be consistently funny in front of different audiences, you're either the most artistic comedian of all time or you're really bad at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. Like the hard part should be, how do I make a living at it?
Yeah, the hard part is, how do I connect from Atlanta to Charlotte in less than 2 hours? That's the hard part of comedy.
Were there some, like when you started Meowingtons and you were doing your business ventures, like looking at you then, because you were really young, and now, were there some like hard and fast rules that now you're like, yeah, I guess that's not a hard rule. Like you can do things in a different way.
I mean, when I look back to then, I think the biggest difference I noticed is that I was just very stupidly confident. Very, like, I just had dumb confidence in my early 20s.
I can relate to that.
Now I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. I know how to do it, but I don't know if I can. So I guess that would be the biggest thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like I had that when I was in my early 20s, late teens, starting stand-up. I just had stupid confidence, and I would go up, and now I have realistic fears.
Yes.
Realistic fears of, this could go wrong. This could go really wrong. And all I have is the confidence of sitting in the failure and going, I hope they come around. I hope they come around. Wow, they're not coming around. You know, like in those short little sets, like 7 minutes, if you don't get them with those first couple jokes, you're like, oh boy, we got to really pivot hard. Wow, they're still not coming.
Or the opposite, when you're killing up top and then at the end you're like, whoa, and it just falls off a cliff.
Yeah,
and
you're
just
like, what happened?
I guess I'm just going to walk off stage? I guess I leave now? I was trying a new bit out on Sunday, and it was like having a good time. And then in the new bit, I told the end of the joke or too early because I never said it out loud.
Oh, no.
And I had nowhere to go. And I was like, and I just like, well, you guys remember earlier, right? When I was having a good time? All right, I'll see you. Like, I had nowhere to go.
That's how I feel about Port Charlotte. Every time we work Port Charlotte, because it's an older audience, they love when I make fun of their town and the stuff around it. That stuff kills. But then I got like 3 minutes of that. Now we got to go to the other 50 minutes of me doing my material. And it's real hit or miss. It's real touch and go. Yeah. And then sometimes you'll see a newer comedian just go up there with all this dumb confidence, like you're talking about. And I'm sure you see that, you know, with business people too. Sometimes like some young upstart, they'll always make a feature of them. She's 22 and fresh out of business school and didn't even get her degree, but now she runs the most successful pop-up shop in all of Manhattan. Here's Felicia. And then Felicia's like, it's not even that hard. Like,
Anyone can do it.
If you just work hard, dedicate yourself, and have a lot of family money.
Yeah.
They never tell. I wish every article that boasts the 30 under 30 be like, what did your parents do for work? Because you didn't do this alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time I see a comedian,
They should all do credits.
yes.
You might have seen this person growing up with a lot of privilege. Bringing to the stage Elon Musk. You know, like there should be some sort of financial credits. Credit scores. Give me that.
Every time I see a comedian that's younger and is very comfortable bombing, I go, oh, you had rich parents.
Yeah.
You had rich parents. Like, this doesn't have to work out immediately. This doesn't even have to work out soon.
Yeah.
This is just you're rebelling from going to Oxford or like going to some university over here.
Or usually after you went to that school and
Yes.
finished, and you're like, but I don't wanna. I
Yeah.
don't want to do the thing I got paid for.
Yeah, I don't want to join the hedge fund that my dad runs. I'm going to go be a comedian.
I don't want to be a named lawyer at my dad's law firm. Yet.
Yeah. And you just have that confidence, because I feel like all the comedians that I know that grew up poor in their early stages, they still had this hunger to do well. Like they would get off going, why did I go so bad? And they would beat themselves up. But those people that are arrogantly comfortable in doing poorly, and they're just like, this audience doesn't get it. I'm like, oh, you're filthy rich. No, you came up with juice boxes and the good name brand fruit roll-ups.
Juice boxes.
Like the good juice boxes too. You had the off-brand, like you had the collector's item high C or whatever.
Yeah, you weren't excited over the one time you got Ecto Cooler. Because you were just drinking Slimeade.
That's a good observation.
I've seen it a lot, and it's like, oh, you're comfortable just not doing well because it doesn't have to work out. Where I would have this panic in my heart, like I just came here from Sears Automotive, I'm covered in motor oil.
Yeah.
I need this to go well because I barely made it to this set.
Or the difference is it's someone unbothered, but they're drinking a stiff drink after a bombing. That I can be like, okay, you're just scared. You're scared about the bomb, and you're just not letting it show, but you're using the drink to get you through that. Because that's like I think there's a middle ground there between.
I agree with
being
that.
like arrogant about it, but also or just quiet about it.
Yeah,
you know, because quiet can sometimes come across as arrogant.
It's true.
Yeah,
that's true. I just remembered listening to myself in that stupid interview where I was saying a bunch of stupid things about what I thought comedy was, and listening to it, I just realized that all that was a front.
Can we insert it into this podcast?
No.
Here.
He won't even let me watch it.
I won't. No, I couldn't even finish it. I watched like a second of it, and I was like, "Oh, turn that off immediately."
Well, you don't have to listen to this podcast.
I know.
What are you talking about? Just send a link.
It's yeah, but it was no.
Let me start this off quickly.
Let me start this off with a hard no, but I think a lot of it, what it is that early dumb confidence, as you put it, is making up for it's a front for the fear that's really behind there, which is vulnerability, which is the only thing I've changed in the last 10 years or 18 years of doing comedy is I feel more vulnerable now.
Yeah.
And that's why me as a person interacting with people is different, but also me on stage is very different from what I did 10 15 years ago. 10, 15 years ago, I was aggressive. I had a hard front because I was scared of people. I was scared about how the audience would take me. And then now I've realized, kind of like jujitsu, like I went to one jujitsu class, and this guy who was like a blue belt, and he would just lay there like this, and I would be like, how do I fight him? So then I would just try to hump this guy, and somehow even from this position, and I'm just on him like a cheap coat, and he would just find a way to choke me every time. And I was like, oh, you're being vulnerable and using my aggression against me.
Yeah.
That's what I do in stand-up.
Yeah.
I come in vulnerable, which is how I want to be as a person, and then nobody attacks me, and then they listen to what I have to say instead of coming in like a big raging erection, going, oh, everyone's going to listen to me. Instead of coming in like that, I come in nice and going, hey, this is me. I hope you'd like to come along for the ride. And people are like, yeah, we're into that. What's
instead
going on?
of stomping that guy in the head,
Yes.
like, no, this is jujitsu. So do the jujitsu. Don't do the street fight, which is what you're doing on stage. Is you're not going into a jujitsu match kicking people in the head, because that's not what the sport is.
No.
That's not what comedy is.
No, that's not what comedy is.
Although comedy is jujitsu, like now it seems like, but
comedy is the bad aspects of jujitsu where there's hard and fast rules. Like in martial arts, you gotta shrimp and pop your hip and slip out and then choke his eyeballs out of his head, and you're like, whoa. What, so these people just came to have a good time. I don't know why you're asking.
I just signed up for TikTok, man. I don't know if I'm ready for all this.
It is. I don't know. There's a lot of hard and fast rules, but I guess it's just a part of growing. Like, imagine if there was an interview about when you started Meowingtons at 22. Mm-hmm. Yeah, imagine what you would say in that interview versus the person that started Safe Journal in her 30s.
Yeah.
A lot more mature, a lot more realistic about goals and accomplishments, and that the world changes, whether on how you advertise and how you adjust.
A lot less arrogant, too.
A lot less arrogant, because you haven't been kicked in the teeth. Everyone's arrogant at 22, because unless you had a really, really, really bad childhood, so far you haven't really experienced a kick in the face
or failure.
Yes failure is so important. That's what makes you human.
It humbles you.
That's what makes you human. No one wants to listen to the time you crushed it.
I get scared when I see people that don't, like, growing up, when they're just, everything works out for them. I'm like, this is going to crash hard one day. And I know people today that, like, you can tell, like, I know that their whole lives were just like, you're the best, success. And now they're just like, they can't cope with reality because it's like, oh man, sorry, but that's not how life works.
Exactly.
You never had a failure. That's why I'm for transgender athletes beating girls in high school sports. Because I think that's a real conversation I had with some. That's a weird transition. I agree. I'll acknowledge that.
Whoa! They're very normal transitions, and that should be accepted.
That's not what I meant. I meant conversational transition.
Got it.
But I was talking to someone. They're like, "Is it fair that that someone who transitions and then beats a girl at the women's sports in high school. I go, no, of course it's not fair. But you know what else isn't fair? Life isn't fair. And then I think someone that has a perfect record, let's say in women's wrestling in high school, and then gets beat by an athlete in an unfair situation, that person's going to be way more ready for the life of failures that the world's going to throw at them in their 30s and 40s than a kid that just clean sweeped it, went to college, clean sweep, went to the UFC, became light heavy. Look at Ronda Rousey. Like, that's exactly who I'm talking about. If Ronda Rousey was beat by a transgender athlete in high school in judo, I think she wouldn't have taken her loss to Holly Holm so bad. Her whole world crumbled when she got kicked in the neck.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know Ronda Rousey's story.
None of these things.
None of these.
I lost you at this conversation.
To be honest, I zoned out for a lot of this.
Oh no! So Ronda Rousey was the first major woman's UFC, like mixed martial arts superstar, and she killed everybody in a matter of seconds. She would just grab them, break their arm in an arm bar, and it wouldn't take her very long at all. And this was her whole career, from the time she started judo to the time she went all the way up to the UFC, and then she had to fight this lady, Holly Holmes, who's a really good kickboxer, and fought her and kicked her in the head, knocked her out, and she was never the same after that.
She admitted later she considered ending herself after that fight. She considered
suicide after that.
Yeah.
And
but that's how much she
it affected
did not
her,
lose.
She had never, because it's not only did she beat those other fighters, she dominated those. It wasn't close. And then now she met an opponent that wasn't going away and then kicked her in the head, and it crushed her. I think failure at a young age is important. I think letdown at a young age is important.
Yeah.
I got let down by my favorite actor when I was in the first grade, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I got to meet him on set on the movie Sudden Death.
How?
Because my mom's boss, also Hungarian, knew the makeup artist on the set of the movie, which was shot in Pittsburgh, where we lived.
Wow.
And his name was Zoltan, the makeup artist. And so we got to go on set. I got
was
to see
that guy your real dad? Wait a
Oh
minute.
my God.
Hold on a second. Why did your mom know this guy and named you after him?
That's so funny.
He's named after his daddy, Forrest. Yeah. His daddy's name's Forrest, too. Zoltan. He's your kid. That's your dad.
That's so funny. But yeah, the point is, like, Jean-Claude Van Damme wouldn't take a photo with me.
That's weird.
And so I have a Polaroid. With the 7-year-old, I have a Polaroid with his stunt double. So I took a picture with his stunt double instead of the real Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Dang.
Yeah. And but those little, like, defeated moments, those, I don't know, they help get you ready for a little bit more of a kick in the face. And then you don't crumble when Just for Laughs doesn't pick you for the 9th damn year in a row. Where Jeff Singer, this guy with a goatee and a stupid hat and his notebook and his pencil goes, I don't think you have what it takes. He never said that, but he never picked me, and that's fine. But, like, it didn't cause me to crumble and cry on stage and quit comedy. It just made me go, well, that sucks. I'm going to keep moving forward.
It just gives you the ability to zoom out a little bit and
Yes.
see the bigger picture. Like, oh, he didn't pick me, but he also put Southern Mama in a theater. So, Jeff, I actually don't trust your judgment. You know?
There is nothing
I'm
better.
not saying it's me, but it ain't Southern Mama.
There's nothing better than being not picked for something and then seeing the other people that they pick and then make yourself feel better. Like, I remember one time I went out to Las Vegas to showcase for the Laugh Factory, and Harry Basil, I drove all the way out from San Diego because the headliner had said that he set up a showcase for me. And then I got out there and he goes, yeah, I saw your tape. I don't think you're right for the club. And then I'm like, oh, I mean, I came all the way up from San Diego. Maybe I get 5 minutes and I'll try to change your mind. And if not, whatever. And he goes, you know, a lot of people want to go on stage and get their picture taken behind the Laugh Factory logo. And that's when I almost lost it and went, I don't care if the sign behind me says Chuckle Tits. I'm just trying to get work, you loser.
I'll put a mask on.
Yeah,
like,
I'll put a mask on. Yeah. But I didn't say that because I didn't want to throw my buddy who vouched for me under the bus. So I just went, okay. And I sat there and I watched his show. He was headlining that weekend. It was my buddy was actually featuring. He was headlining.
The booker?
The booker, Harry Basil. He used to open for Rodney Dangerfield. And Harry Basil, I watched his act. He does all these like recreations of movies, and he wears horrible costumes and does a recreation of Rocky and Indiana Jones. He is without a doubt the worst comedian I've ever seen in my entire life. And I felt immediately better that this guy didn't think that I had what it took to perform at his comedy club. Like, absolute the worst act I've ever seen. And I was like, I'm glad that guy doesn't like me. I'm glad he doesn't think I have what it takes, because he's horrible. He's like he was like the worst part of 80s comedy was Harry Basil. Put that on the record.
Well, that's but that's just a manifestation of him, though, being like, I have no power because I know I'm not funny deep down, so I can't let I have to tell somebody else they're not funny. Dude. It's like trauma therapy.
It is.
For them, where they're like, I'm in control of the thing that hurts me the most by doing it to somebody else.
It's the freshman in high school that gets bullied that is now the sophomore that can't wait to stick a freshman in the trash can.
Yep, exactly.
It's that mentality. I need to tell you this story about Harry Basil. So he has sound cues. Like when he does the movie for Rocky, like the Rocky music pounds.
I don't hate sound cues.
Yeah.
I like a sound cue.
What is sound cues?
Sound cues, like, so he has a CD in or whatever. A CD. It probably is a CD.
It's
with
probably
him.
an 8-track.
Yeah, it's probably an 8-track. But like, so when he does a scene from Rocky and he dresses up like Rocky Balboa, there's like the Rocky music coming in through the speakers. And I did a show with him at a private event. And he headlined that, and I watched it, and I was next to one of the speakers, and I realized not only is there music pumping out of there, there's laughter and wooing. Because in Vegas, I thought he was doing well, but I was watching his act, and I'm like, this is trash. But then at the private event, I was next to one of the speakers, and I was like, the laugh's coming out of here?
Wow.
He's actually bombing, but he won't allow the bomb to happen because he put in... and woo into the soundtrack, and I'm like, what a loser!
That's amazing.
I'm so glad you don't like my comedy.
I kind of respect it. I respect the fact that he's so hard fast against like not helping people, but yet he can't help himself by being funny.
He can't. He's falling over himself.
I'll say this: Carrot Top does that also in his stage show, where there's applause cracked in.
Really,
but it's a bit. So he'll do like a thing and the worst thing ever, and like and then he'll be like cut it, and then it all shuts off, and you so you're in on the bit after like 2 times that it happens. Okay. And I thought this is brilliant. I'll stand up for Carrot Top. I'm gonna try to see him when I'm out there. Like
I would love to see Carrot Top. I think that guy. I don't know why, but I respect him.
I have so much respect. for Carrot Top.
I respect Carrot Top, but the Harry Basils of the world can go away. But yeah, I'm glad we got to trash somebody. I've always wanted to use this not that it's
platform.
a big, it's not a big platform, but I like that we're putting his name in a negative context. Well, let's burn some more people. Who else has wronged me? Who else has wronged me?
Well, Harry hasn't worked since 2012.
He owns the Laugh Factories like he's part owner for the one in Vegas and Reno. Because the Laugh Factory is like horribly run. Jamie Masada, I think, only owns most of L.A.
Oh, yeah, he's the partner and general manager of Laugh Factory Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's a lot of...
I actually think he's great.
How do you...
Let's set the record straight.
I think he's... That's also what I'm going to say if Just for Laughs is back next year. Hey, listen, you guys.
Jokes.
I was talking about Jeff Singer. He's not reinstated, is he? Oh, he is? Listen, Jeff was a good guy, and I liked the hat, quite honestly. I thought the hat brought a lot of character.
Oh, my God, that's so funny.
Insanity. How are we doing on time?
55.
Oh, okay. I had a couple more things I wanted to say, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. I got hit on Nextdoor.
What is that?
You don't know what Nextdoor is? It's like it's a social media app, but it's only for people right in your neighborhood. So if you have a disagreement with someone, you're gonna probably see them at the park. It's okay. Yeah, but it's a social media app for people in your neighborhood. They make sure you live there, and then they let you into the group. And I made a post asking, where do we get good bread in the neighborhood, and the first comment was this middle-aged dude who's apparently gay, and he goes, right around the corner at Winners, let me know when you go, and I'll bring the toppings. And he left like a little wink.
I'll come over and
bring the toppings.
See you at whoa, buddy.
Yeah. And
he spelt it really suspiciously.
And I remember showing it to Emma. I was like, I think I just got hit on by this gay dude on Nextdoor. And she started laughing, and she's like, why would he hit on you? And then I looked at my profile picture. I kind of look gay in my profile picture.
Oh, very gay.
I didn't realize I did. I'm doing one of these, like a little half smile from the side, and there's a fiddle fig tree in the background, because at our last place you had a fiddle fig tree, and so that's where I took this one selfie that I ended up using as my profile picture on Nextdoor, and I was like, I see now how this happened.
The hell's a
so now we might run
fiddle
into
fig
this
tree?
guy. It's a big leafy tree.
I'm gonna be honest, the fact that you know what it is a little gay too.
It's a little gay.
It's because of me, but
Oh yeah. I had no idea it would have. Yeah, I had no idea it would have fit. Yeah, when we lived in San Diego, every day my fiddle fig tree's dying, and it was there for our entire stay. But yeah, I got hit on, which is the biggest compliment a guy can get, is being hit on by a gay dude.
I think so. Yeah.
Because gay dudes they're as superficial as any man is, regardless of sexual orientation. So the fact that he saw my profile picture and he's like, that one's cute, I was like, well, hello.
we should invite him over.
No, we shouldn't, but we should.
But he's got the toppings.
I think we're going to run into him at Winners, and he's going to give me a dirty look and go, you're not gay. You need to, that's false advertisement.
Like, you don't have any mozzarella. Yeah. Where's your basil oil?
I bet you he's got good butter.
He's got good boobs.
Oh, that sounded sexual.
Is that something the gays are known for, is good
I
butter?
don't know. I just think he has good butter.
He's definitely got the stuff they slap with wooden rods, that they do in France. They slap butter.
So that was me getting hit on Nextdoor, and then Emma got hit on while I was gone in Cleveland. You were walking down the street, and what happened?
This guy was like, excuse me, miss, you look pretty cute. And I was like, sorry, not today.
Which is, I think sorry, not today might be the best no thank you of all time. Sorry, not today. Like they were trying to sell something, which they were trying to sell something. Genitalia. They were trying to offer you genitalia, and you said, sorry, not today.
I actually
which I don't know what accent that
regretted
was.
saying sorry. I don't think you should ever say sorry. You should
I think
say
sorry.
no thank you.
I think sorry is meaner.
Really?
Yeah, because that means you didn't take their come on seriously, because you didn't take them seriously as a potential mate. And so you saying sorry, no thank you is kind of the same way you would talk to a Girl Scout who wants to sell you cookies in front of a grocery store, and you go, sorry, no thank you. You're like, oh, you didn't take me seriously as a businesswoman. That's what you just did to this guy.
Right.
You didn't take him seriously as a potential companion, so you went, sorry, no thank you.
But if he's like extra weird, he'll be like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. Get rid of me. Stop scheduling dates, lady.
You know the confidence that it takes to hit on somebody?
More than I've ever had.
I don't have it. I don't have it. Like, thankfully, you chased me down and tackled me.
Oh, my God.
And that's how we ended up in this relationship. I'm sorry, you hate when I said that is not what happened. You came up to me to say hello, and then I chased you for
No
5
one was
straight
asking.
You're looking at the camera like there's anyone actually inside the physical camera.
No one is asking. Well, those were our 2 moments. You get hit on way more than I do, which obviously you're way better looking, but you handle it well.
Do I?
Yeah. You know what you do? You look through them. Remember when that guy hit on you at the show I was bombing at in front of those hedge fund people in Jackson Hole, Wyoming? You know this story.
So, yeah.
And then while I'm bombing in this small room, this creep goes over and sits next to Emma at the bar. And I just see him whispering in her ear, and she doesn't even look at him. She just looks straight ahead and like mutters something, and then just keeps looking. And I was like, man, you are stone cold. You are stone cold. I love that about you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm trying to bang the comic. And I bet you I will.
Yeah, what a villain. That guy would be in a Netflix documentary.
I hosted a party, and my fiance now was my girlfriend at the time, and I was like standing next to her, kind of like just a little touchy.
Yeah.
And then another comic, a female comic, said to someone else, they're like, Jesus Christ, Mike, it's so embarrassing to watch Mike hit on that chick. Get over it. She's not going for you.
Oh, whoa.
And then they go, that's his girlfriend. She goes, oh, they're so cute together. It was like an immediate, like, you creep. Aww.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's my credit of how I know Rosebud Baker.
Oh, she's the one that did that?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah.
That's really funny. You're creepily hitting on that woman. This woman I'm going to ask to be my wife.
The one I live with?
This is the one we share
Ew,
rent.
you're hanging out with your roommate? Well, I guess you can call her that.
Before we go, anything else you'd like to plug, say, share?
Yeah, where are your upcoming shows?
New upcoming shows?
Las Vegas.
Yeah, we're going to we got
Next week.
We have a fun couple weeks. We're going to Las Vegas, where Mike will also be.
Yeah,
so if
I'm
you're coming to the shows in
pumped.
Vegas, you might see Mike doing a guest set at Wise Guys Comedy Club. Also, we're going to Portugal, which will be badass. Then we're going to Naples, Florida, going to a wolf sanctuary. And doing shows, obviously, but yeah, mostly excited about the wolf sanctuary.
There for the wild dogs.
That and going to a mall.
Oh, we are going to go to a mall because we want to buy new clothes, but it's that.
So random.
Why'd you ask?
I'm so pumped to go to a mall in the suburbs.
Isn't that crazy how much fun it is to do? I was at a Walmart like a week ago, and I was just like, I want to buy everything. Like, it's just so unique to be in a big, giant store.
Yes, it's so great.
I loved it.
Yeah.
We're going to go do that because we want to do it at the suburbs because it's so busy when you go to the Macy's in Midtown or whatever.
Brutal, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a big to-do.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But yeah, that's what's coming up. Go to zoltancomedy.com to check out my schedule. And don't forget, Safe Journal, safejournal.co.co, 25% off. Zoltan is the code that you put in at checkout. I write you a handwritten note, and you get a badass journal, part of the deal. Finally got you to laugh. I got you a little chuckle out of you. All right, that's the show. Goodbye, everybody.
Trekking heavy or traveling light, there's one thing that's right wherever I go.